evening. We are live again with Crone's Crucible. Hi, gang. How y'all doing?
Hi.
Good.
I'm back.
Been better, been worse. What you gonna do?
We are here.
Epiphany's ready.
On my nose.
And,
You have pizza?
we have a gang in the middle of Troll Skull Alley trying to figure out what they're doing here. Welcome back to Water Dance, as they try to put together a very beat up and dilapidated manor. Anybody have anything they want to ask or deal with before we get started in the matters at hand and where we pick up?
How are we picking up in relation to last week? Are we picking up kind of just immediately after, or?
It will be immediately after. It is during the night you got Saloon arrested, and you stumbled back, got a rest, so it is early afternoon. When you arrived back at the Troll Skull Manor, you found Tully working feverishly on repairing boards, replacing boards, staining, varnishing the new boards, trying to make them look reasonably similar to the others, getting the railing fixed, and so forth. As a matter of fact, it looks like he may have spent more money than just the basic amount that Nokri had put in for his stuff. So, and I very faint, but I am hearing a voice back again, so make sure mics are away and push the talks on. Well, I can still hear myself a bit. I don't know.
And it's not me, because you are super low on my end right now.
Okie doke. You, for your sake, if you need me higher, of course, use the Discord to get it up. But he's done quite a bit. He has repaired probably 8 or 9 steps. He's replaced quite a few of the boards on the entry porch. He has replaced boards and some bricks on the front of the building, has done a little bit of painting, and is now doing a bunch of staining and varnishing. So it looks like more than the 40 gold has been spent. He's done a fairly extensive amount. But he is working on that as you return. You went in to discuss and to rest. When you came out, he is still working on all the stuff that he was doing, been busy all morning. So he's done quite a bit with things, even oiled some hinges and made a lot of things set up so that you're able to do it. The doors have had some revarnishing, so he's got a lot of them standing open so that the varnish won't stick to the woodwork. But he's been quite busy.
I would say, because he has been working so hard, most likely at some point when she wasn't helping him remove boards or hold up things for him, Nokri would have went to some place where she can get food to basically go, and then brought it back for him. Like, she went and bought like a fairly decent good meal and brought it back as a thank you for his work.
Very good. Very good. And
I just need to know how much that would have cost and whatnot.
yeah, you probably would have bought about would it be sandwiches or would it be a hot meal?
I would, I guess depending on the weather, either one. I mean, I'm not really sure what would have been more appropriate. Like, I think without like bringing him a hot meal and like ale or something like that would have been appropriate.
Very good. So you probably spent probably close to a gold on the meal.
Okay.
It would have been a substantial meal with drinks and everything, so probably about a gold. A luncheon meal, so it wasn't expensive as a dinner, but still substantial. He looks up very thankful. Oh, thank you, miss. That will go down good. I really kind of threw myself into this. I'd like to see you get a good hand up on this. It's been a long time since we've had the old girl open for business. I just was wondering, and he kind of pushes his hat back on his head. Just was wondering, have there been any strange happenings in the place while you've been here?
Strange happenings? Not that I'm aware of. Sorry, my roommate's also leaving for her trip.
There was the mirror thing.
Of course, yeah, I see Lee, you're not there. We'll see if Nockley remembers things.
I have a funny feeling that someone put in a couple of practical jokes into the building. We couldn't find anything beyond simple magical tricks.
Yeah, he opens his bottle of ale and and pours it into his tankard. Perfect sound effect.
We have a Foley artist, ladies and
then he
gents.
takes his tankard.
Yeah, exactly.
Too much froth right now. Don't want to have a mustache on my mustache.
Why?
Yo, dog.
He kind of looks at you sideways and he goes, practical jokes exactly how, yes?
I think there was some weird writing that showed up on the mirror inside, but after that it disappeared.
Did Volo tell you about the previous bartender lady?
Unfortunately, Master Volo was rather not forthcoming about circumstances in getting this place. In fact, this was given to us as payment for helping a friend of his.
No, why doesn't that entirely surprise me? He's a lot better with his hopes than he is with his payments. I did a few jobs for him, and it took a little bit to get the coin, and a lot of the coin was actually in trade. He did pay me after a spell and after a fashion, but yeah, Master Volo has a lot more dreams than money, I'm afraid. But yeah, the lady's name was Leaf, as I recall. She was killed in the tavern.
Oh, fun. That's going to make an interesting thing to let the cleric know.
And now I understand she was very taken with her job. She was very loyal to the inn, and it didn't do her well with the people that owned it. I don't think she's got any harm in her mind, but I don't know what would be going on if she's still there. Now, I'm not saying she is. There could be a prankster, but there's been stories circulating about things happening, you know.
Funny enough, stories like this don't actually bother me very much. In fact, it makes this place has even more charm. I'll uncover its secrets, master them, and have it work for me.
Well, I'm about finished here with what you needed. Now, if you have anything that you need, like for your ironworks or anything, there are a couple of Genasi down the street. Now, I haven't had a whole lot to do with them. We've got a little bit of an issue. I don't think they entirely understand what my issue is, but they're very good and very handy with the iron. They're a loving pair. And I lost my wife some time ago, and it's awful hard on me to see them having somebody at their back like that, so I don't have much to do with them. But I don't really dislike them, and I'd gladly throw some business their way.
I'll give him like a condolences pat on the shoulder, just as like and like kind of like that. I sympathize with your loss type deal.
Appreciate it. She was a fine woman, and it's been hard not having her around. You know, it gets lonely not having somebody to say hello to every morning. It kind of keeps you going.
Well, you are more than welcome to visit here any time. You'd never have to be a stranger to us. Believe me, with all the work you've put in, you'd be more than welcome.
That's part of why I'm rolling up my sleeves for the old gal, and he pats the building. I'm kind of fond of her, and I'd like to see her up and running again.
Well, I will do my very best.
And with that, he starts cleaning off brushes and putting stoppers in the various canisters, clay jars of paint and what have you that he's got, starting to finish up. It's getting to be probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, when you get enough money together that you can open the doors, let me know. We'll see about fixing up the rest. How's the furniture doing inside?
Some of it's slowly being fixed. Granted, it would hurt to have a second set of eyes looking over it. Suggestions on how to, I guess gussy it up a little bit wouldn't hurt either. Slow, but not so slow.
My wife was still alive, she'd probably dive right into putting up all kinds of decorations. Now me, I'm just an old hard worker, and I'm not much in the decoration department, though I can certainly do some work with the wood, as you see. From time to time, I get trade-ins on older furniture, which I fix up and resell. So if I get any, I'll let you know. It might help you if you need anything. Let me know when you get the money.
We definitely need to furnish the upstairs at some point, but for now we're going to focus down here on the first floor.
Quite understandable. We've got to get the tavern working first.
Tavern working, beds potentially turning it a little bit into a cozy place to rest if needed.
That'll be a happy thing to have. Trollskull Alley hasn't been the same without her. Well, I'm best be getting home. Thank you again for the lunch. That was a big help. I will gladly help out whenever you need. I'll get home and back to my work.
And I will most happily come to get any recommendation you may have. And someone's shooting off fireworks in my neighborhood.
Well, the people here on the alley will, I'm sure, dive in to help anyone that will be a new neighbor. They're a good sort by and large. Some of them can be grumpy from time to time, and some of them, he kind of rolls his eyes towards one end of the alley, some of them are a bit buried in their books, but other than that, they really are a good crew.
That's always good to hear. But I do thank you for all your assistance today.
He nods and tips his two-finger tips his hat to you and gathers up his stuff and starts away. What are the rest of you doing as you have gathered together after your rest and so forth? By the way, some of the tables downstairs are movable by you guys in case you want to do any rearranging. I haven't got the beds movable yet. We'll see what you want to do with that.
Well, Cashin's been
here.
Walking around the neighborhood and meeting up with people. And he's also been trying to probe them for any possible jobs.
all of them, let's see, all of the ones that are actually workshops, you didn't speak to Tully because he was here working on this, so you can speak to him as he leaves if you want. But any of the craftsman's shops have minor fetch and gopher type of jobs that would be worth 5 gold here and 5 gold there if you want to pick them up. Those will always be available if you need it. There are only a few craftsman type shops on the alley. There is Tully's shop itself, and there is an herbalist. There's the iron workers, the 2 Genasi iron workers that Tully mentioned, yeah, that's pretty much it. The bookseller might have need of some help with carrying things or whatever, possibly tracking down an old tome or something. At this point, you haven't spoken with them that far.
And the Tiger's Eye?
The Tiger's Eye was a little different. When you opened the door and went in, you met a rather strange man. He's almost, I would call him dandified, but that doesn't quite describe it. He is very, very precise in his dress, almost extremely so. He has a very oddly styled mustache, and he speaks with heavy trills and rolls on the R's in an accent that you can't quite place. It seems very odd. He has a job. His name is Vincent, and he has an occupation that is basically what we would call private eye. He finds things, people, items, tracks down stuff for people. So it's basically a detective agency, and it's called the Tiger's Eye.
Well, Cashin would, in his time visiting the very precisely looking man, would tell him about his project of reopening the tavern.
Ah, the tavern is being reopened, is it? I have missed that place. It used to be quite the gathering place for all the community in this part, but it was drunk into the ground by the owner at that time.
Yes, I heard the story. It's quite a shame. And I'm so yes, I'm looking for work or any possible, I guess you could say, investments into the work. I'm certain you'd like it, considering it'd be a great place for gossip to come through.
Ah, not a bad idea. I might come around a lot and keep an ear to the ground to see what might come up. I might locate some jobs too, and if I need an extra hand, I'll ask you to help out maybe once in a while.
Glad to hear of it.
At the moment, I'm between jobs, so if you hear anything that might have anyone needing such things, I'd be glad to lend a hand with it.
I'll be sure to keep my ear to the ground.
Ears are an important thing. They can bring you lots of luck and lots of information.
That they can. Well, I best get going now.
How long before you'll be opening the place?
Depends on how fast we can get the money to open it up. I'd rather not get in debt with the bank again.
They can really put the screws on you when you don't pay. It's better to keep your independence.
Yeah, but we may need to if we want to get it open during the festival on time.
He takes a few puffs out of a very long-stemmed pipe that he's carrying, and he thinks over, I know a few nobles if you think you need extra funds. There were friends that like to come around and they might possibly want to assist with the opening, so let me know if you come up a little short on the funds department.
How about you just give me those names now and I could look into them?
Let me consider it. Some of them may not wish their name attached, but I will speak with them and let you know.
Very much appreciated.
He takes
And,
another puff as he kind of studies you. His eyes seem to, you can't quite fix your mind on what color they are. Sometimes they seem brown, but sometimes they seem almost golden.
Insight on what's going on with those things.
You can roll insight, but you go ahead and roll insight and we'll see what he's thinking. The only thing your insight would tell you is that he is definitely a person that pays attention. You have a feeling that just about everything you're saying is going into his mind.
Well, if that's all there is to be said, I think I'd best get going.
I'll be watching for your opening.
And Cash in, well, he just gives a bow and leaves.
And he gets a very sweeping bow with the pipe and an arm from the man, a very courtly bow with 1 foot behind and a full gentlemanly bow.
Is this a new day from last session, or is this the same day?
This is the day after you got Saloon arrested, and this is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so same day. So this is kind of what's happening while Relian and I and Shepard are out.
Exactly. Cashin was going around, taking a walk around the neighborhood while the rest of you were tying up your various mission ends. Cashin's mission only took a moment to complete and to turn in, so he had time on his hands and was able to walk around the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. All right.
What's everyone else doing?
Now that you are returning from your various missions, what's the plans?
Well, if we're gathering back at the inn, I think Cashin will just give a detailed list of all the shops he visited.
Why don't you go ahead and do that in character, because they don't have access to the information you do.
All right.
Oh, sorry to interject. Real quick. Did by any chance the incident with the guards, did I get anything from that? From having to talk to them?
Nothing has happened yet.
Okay. I just wanted to double check on that, that's all. Thank you. Sorry, continue.
All right. Well, Cashin is just discussing what he's learned over a warm soup. Well, as we probably told you before, there's the bent nail. The man who was working on our front porch runs that place. Then there's the forge shop run by the Genasis. One is a fire genasi, the other water, husband and wife, respectively.
Well, husband and husband.
Oh, I. Anyway, yeah, they work on anything made out of metal, weapons, armor, window frames,
Wait. What kind of genasi are they?
fire and water.
That seems almost stereotypical.
I don't think we're there yet.
It's probably like any marriage, fire and water.
And then there's the herb shop. A lovely wood elf by the name of Fala. Flowers, herbs, potions, and there's also the bookstore, and that place is pretty interesting. It's big on the inside than it looks on the outside. Probably some spatial magic going on.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, I have to break character. I was about to say, is it a TARDIS?
The proprietor is an old man with a very long scarf.
Who?
He's constantly talking about density.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one is run by a short dragonborn. And then the final place is the I guess you could call it you could say they are hired to investigate people.
Could be
And
handy.
it's run by a very precisely dressed man. And I do mean precisely. It's rather unnatural.
Some people tend to take the term dressed to the nines a little bit too literally.
Well, he's dressed to the tens in this case.
I suppose I haven't seen the person, so I wouldn't know. Well,
Anyway, I've talked to all of them, and they, in hopes of finding work, money, some fetch and run jobs, but the detective man, Trench, he said he has friends among the nobility. If things get worse for wear, he can get us a loan from one of them.
that's the trickiest thing about being in loans with nobles. They usually ask for way more than they're actually worth getting back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a possibility, but I'd still like to see what avenues we can unlock with our good friend, the one we rescued. Don't think we've actually explored. Yeah, I don't think we've actually explored that avenue just yet, have we?
Can I do a history check on Renair?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Yes.
All right.
Renair is quite well known. His father is massively well known. His father was tied up with the city. He was the main lord of Waterdeep, the open lord, one of the open lords of Waterdeep for quite a number of years before he went a couple of decades ago to the north. And he left the city under somewhat odd circumstances. His son at that time had a falling out with him and stayed in the city, did not go north as his father apparently had some major arguments with him. And there were claims, never come to court, but there were claims that he pretty much emptied out one of the city treasuries and that the father basically stole funds. They have been watching Renair in the interim time, and there's been suspicion that Renair knows where these funds were placed, but Renair has never lived anything except what you might call an upper middle class existence since his father has left. He is not poverty-stricken, but he also is not living much like a noble. He seems to have distanced himself to a certain extent from the nobles at large, but he is not at all poor. He just is not.
Merchant nobility kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yes.
Merchant aristocracy rather than, I rule things.
Yeah, he basically seems to do work for a lot of the money that he gets and so forth. He is not a lazy noble.
All right, so he definitely doesn't have any money on him.
He might have some to offer. I mean, like I say, he's not poverty-stricken. He's a lot better off than you guys are. But he is not swimming in money.
Who knows? He may still have some influence among the court, considering he's more well-liked than his father.
Well, that's still debatable, but we might be able to help solve a few things for him if need be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's actually a closed avenue to explore.
Definitely not.
Well, depending on how long it'll take for the missive I sent out earlier today to arrive home, we should be getting funds that way.
Some business out of the way, O'Seeley. Does your group plan on advertising? If so, how much money do you intend to put in on it, and who will be spending it?
I think we could. How much would it pay to get a person to advertise it?
Well, basically, I'm not going to do it in terms of this costs exactly this and that costs exactly that. What I'm going to do is it's basically charted that for every gold that you put in on advertising, you get X amount of return based on that. So I basically just need to know how much money, in addition to the fix-up and all the things like that, how much formal advertising are you going to be doing? Will you be doing circulars, flyers? Will you be trying to do word of mouth and possibly hire a town crier, et cetera, et cetera? So you will simply tell me the dragon amount, the gold amount that you wish to spend, and it will determine into your profits.
I would assume that for advertising, we would probably just start out with flyers saying the Troll Skull Alley will reopen for business soon.
Troll Skull Tavern.
Troll Skull Tavern. And then once we actually get to like the actual opening day, like maybe a couple days beforehand, we'll get a little heavier with the advertising, maybe get a crier or something like that.
Hire Lyric.
We don't want to go... Yeah, we could hire Lyric. But, we don't want to do, like, massive advertising right away because that's just going to eat up funds. We want to start slow, build it up.
Yeah, so, flyers should do the trick.
Yeah, especially with how we're still in the early stages of repairing it right now. We only just got, the entryway repaired, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a gold figure. When you pull your gold, how much do you want to spend on advertising?
Well, Nakri is currently, I guess, party treasurer right now.
Well, you each have your own funds, so you could hand her some money and say, use this however you want, or you could just simply say, I'll add another gold into the pot or whatever.
Cashin's willing to put in 10 gold for advertisement.
Okay, so we're up to 10 at this point. Any more?
Well, I mean, I don't even know what the figures are for advertising to begin with.
There's no fixed figure.
Oh, there is no.
We're not going to do it that way. It's not a fixed figure. This is figured in on a chart.
Basically,
by how much gold you put in, you get X amount out based on how much you added to it.
Yeah, so it's like it's
right.
It basically gives, you might say, if you were doing a roll on an attack, if you had this special ability, you get advantage. That's basically what happens with advertising. And you do a roll, and if you have this amount of advertising dollars spent, then you get a plus to your roll, and so on.
Roger, now I get it. I'll chip in. Well, I'm not there right now, but when I do get there, I'll chip in 5 gold.
Well, we're doing this as OOC at the moment, so we've now got 10 plus 5.
Plus 5.
Anyone else kicking in?
You know what? Screw it. It's only money, and besides the 50 that Rel needs to put up towards his part of the repairs, he really doesn't need much gold. So, yeah, screw it. Rel will kick in another 7.
We will. We do not wish to part with the golden discs.
No one's forcing your hand, Abby. If you want to keep your pocket money, you keep your pocket money.
We wish a room.
You have a room.
We wish an actual specific room with our name on it.
So you want a name plaque?
Epiphany, Master of Ceremonies.
We just want a specific chamber designated as ours that is recognized and respected by the rest of you.
Okay, so are we is the 22 gold for advertising the figure that I'll put in?
We will add 10 to that.
Okay, so that adds up. I'm actually on a spreadsheet, so that adds up to 32 gold that you've got for advertising. So I'll have that number down to add into your pluses or your profits when we figure them up when you actually get started. So you'll be spending that. And the next question, OOC Lee again, that we need to determine is, what are you going to do for employees? What employees do you plan on having or not having? How are you going to handle the various jobs?
Relian is the cook.
No.
We shall be the greeter.
I am okay with that. You may be very grotesque looking, but you have a very charming voice.
You think we are grotesque?
That was me talking out of character. I would not be saying that as Shepard.
You are wise.
Oh my god.
Why can't Relian be the cook? He made you those eggs and those lovely goblin fingers and that bacon.
The goblin fingers is the reason why you're not going to be the cook.
Look,
the goblin fingers were for us.
Look, I cook on order, okay? If people want goblin fingers, I'm cooking goblin fingers.
We're gonna get an actual cook.
Oh.
Plus the chef's union will have our heads.
We cannot afford an actual cook.
We will once we get the business started.
We need the cook to get the business started.
Get the business started.
Oh,
How about we just skip cooking and just do bartendering for the time being?
Oh, no one is going to come to a tavern that doesn't serve food.
We can try crackers. I don't know.
We will have to make pretzels.
Do they have peanuts in the sword custom?
We'll just have Epiphany get something out of his third stomach.
Look, you're not talking me out of this, really. I'm just claiming this kitchen as. You're not talking me out of this. Relian's claiming the kitchen for his own.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to fight for it.
No. Okay, look. Goblin fingers aside, like, I will say let's try it, and then we can get a second cook to help.
Oh God, really?
We get the second cook and just promote him to head cook.
Yeah, like he can supervise the food.
I feel betrayed. I'm not gonna lie.
Who's going to do the cleaning? And by this, I not only mean sweeping floors and washing dishes, but there's also latrines to clean.
Well, look,
that could be another job.
Who has prestidigitation?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have prestidigitation, but I have worked at a graveyard.
Well, look, who has the clean as their title?
Screw you.
I second this nomination. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. We support Mr. Clean in this endeavor.
As one of the holders of the deed, since it has my name on it, hard pass.
Right.
As one of the holders, as one of the owners with the deed, you should be obligated to make sure that your location and lair are clean. Homeownership is no joke.
One, screw that dumb nickname.
Well, let's get away from entirely having Cashin as the butt of the jokes, and let's move on to realistic here.
Yeah.
So for day one, you're going to try Relian as a cook to see if it flies. Literally, maybe the food goes flying through the. But what do you plan for? Who's going to do bartender?
Oh, bartender.
I don't know. Do you think we could track down Lyric? Is he good at that?
Lyric will do pretty much anything that the shepherd will ask, as long as it's not going to kill him.
I mean, we have a bar. We can just park all of our alts here, you know?
If one of us dies, we know where to get the replacement.
Exactly.
This will be determined by the DM if she'll allow it. But yeah, Lyric would do anything the shepherd would ask of him, again, within reason, as long as he doesn't have to sacrifice his life for it.
Yes, I will allow your alts as NPCs for the time being. However, they are not to be NPCs that, hey, I've got an in with them, so I don't have to pay them. They are going to be considered employees.
He's going to expect payment. He will expect payment.
And the figure that is given in the PHB is unskilled is 2 coppers a day or 2 silvers a day, and the skilled are 2 gold per day. So basically per week, which is a 10-day, it's 20. It's 20 per 10 day of whichever level.
Would the bartendering be skilled or unskilled?
So Lyric will definitely be negotiating this. So how about 5 gold a day?
No.
Look, I will say this: if you guys are so unsure about Relian as the cook, how about bartender? That could actually pan out.
Definitely not.
Hand. I've got mage hand.
He can mix the drinks. It's not that hard.
He's gonna spike it with goblin fingers.
He's
wow.
Okay,
Why does our diet offend you?
Why are you so hooked up on that?
Because it's goblin fingers.
He wanted to eat them.
They were crunchy and they needed to get eaten.
Look,
Do you
got
not
a choice
eat food
right now.
before it goes bad?
Look, you got a choice right now.
The only complaint is that you didn't eat them with wing sauce.
Look, you got a choice. You got a choice right now.
I like that he's intrigued now.
Now,
Lyric,
the DM will say it's perfectly fine to try out his cooking. However, if he gets experimental, it will play a part into the charisma of your various patrons. So it's just a matter of,
Gore, I'll say this right now. Choose. Cook or bartender?
I'm joking, jeez.
No, reasonable question. Would you rather have him as the cook or the bartender?
bartender.
Well, then what would Lyric be? Because
Dockery has spoken.
Entertainer?
Entertainer,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, we need
Right.
an entertainer.
Then who's
Every
gonna be
bar
cook?
needs music.
I mean,
Every
yeah, taverns
party
do actually
needs
employ
music.
bards.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
I mean, I thought he was going to try his hand at bartending, but yeah, he's definitely not going to be a cook, so he'll just be entertainment only.
Yeah, I mean, if let's say Relian gets bombed, he can always back up bartend if he's not entertaining.
Okay, question. Does Cassian know how to make anything besides, like, military rations?
He doesn't even know how to make that.
Oh, okay.
At least he's honest.
So
Honesty.
then we shall have the bartender, and then we shall have Screeching
Okay.
Gibberer for the music, and then we shall have to find someone able to actually cook.
Okay, so you'll need to hire someone for the cook, and if you have an alternate that would fit in that, obviously that would be a good place to have an alt.
Question: what happened to the dude we rescued? Like, did we ever get a chance to find out what his skills were?
Floon's currently kind of like hiding behind Volo,
Oh, wait,
you might
you mean
say.
the,
He's not sticking
Oh,
his
no,
nose out
No,
right now.
the guy that knocked
The half-elf.
like when we tracked down Saloon, like the half elf guy that
What was his
Isn't he a sailor?
name? I forgot. Yeah, he's a sailor. He's got
Okay.
a job. I forget his name. It starts with an H, Beheldan or something of the sort. I forget. But he was one of the sailors that was specifically sailors were being killed.
Okay, I think it would have been. I think in terms of the message being sent out, she probably delivered it to him to have ferried out on the next go.
Ferried out to what is your origin location?
Her island. She's on. Her people are on an island.
Okay.
Like, she's not on mainland.
So it will be quite a while before you get a response on that then.
Yeah.
We are in need of funds, and Epiphany will pull Aurelian aside and say, "We require more funds quickly. Should we attempt other avenues?" Not usually.
That's probably a good thing. I was thinking, why do ducks have 4 feet? But you know.
There is a rap at the door.
They do not.
Cashin opens the door.
It is one of the city guard. That is one of the main watch that you've been seeing around, probably some of the Captain Staggett's people.
All right. What can I do for you, officer?
Greetings. Were you one of the fellows who assisted the guard last night in the apprehension of the person who's being detained for possible murder?
Oh, yeah. I definitely helped when I was stabbed.
Or
I don't know.
Very sorry to hear that. There is a purse that has been provided for the initial apprehension. Obviously, if he is found to be the person of interest once trial has been completed, there may be more considering the charges and who does them. You may wish to go to the Justice Department and file charges yourself if he injured you in the process of apprehension.
I'll make sure they'll note that. And what was this about a purse?
For the basic apprehension, there was a small purse put up to encourage people to try and find culprits. We don't know that he is the one doing all of the murders, but he certainly was one involved in last night's. Therefore, the 300 gold purse is available to those who participated last night.
And Cashin perks up at that. Well, I'll definitely be sure to go to the Justice Department.
Thank you. You will need to, of course, sign for the receipt of the money and verify that you were the individuals who were there.
I can definitely do that by the scars.
I want to insight check the guard.
Very good.
Here we go. Insight. That is, I wasn't on it, a 9.
You are absolutely certain he is a guard.
All right. I was a little more distracted with Aurelian and Epiphany.
Best you can tell, he seems to be dressed properly and have all the correct insignia that the shepherd has come to expect of the city guard.
Very well. I continue looking over at Aurelian and Epiphany.
The veteran guard gives a kind of a half bow, half salute to Cashin, I keep on calling Cassius Clay or something, I don't know. Sorry, Muhammad Ali, that was your old name. But anyway, he gives a half salute to you because, I mean, you were once involved with the guard, so he gives a kind of a formal, non-authority salute to you and says, very well, I wanted to notify you, and he hands you a slip of paper, basically that you are to turn, the people who were involved are to turn in with the people involved in the Justice Department.
All right. Have a good day. Keep safe.
And he kind of clicks his heels together and heads off again.
All right. With that, Cashin turns out the group and says, well, looks like we'll be getting quite the payday.
Speaking of payday, and I go over to Nakari, and then I hand her the purse that I had earned from my group of people. Here's 50 gold towards the rebuilding of this building, and I put in an extra 5 for advertisements.
Oh, my things. Actually, I have a question for you. I've heard an interesting rumor. Apparently, we may actually have a little bit of a spiritual friend in the building.
I'm sorry, what?
Please continue.
The woodworker, the one who was here earlier, doing things. He mentioned that there is somebody who is actually, I think, murdered in this building. Not a hostile spirit, but one who had a great love of this place.
Interesting. I did do a search before. I didn't see anything, but I didn't do a thorough search. I was just meandering around. I can give it another look around if you'd want me to.
Probably also would help if there's records of who worked here. Something that would give us a name, possibly job description, people who knew her, etc., etc.
Didn't Tully tell you the name?
Yeah,
I forgot.
I think it was like Leaf.
Yeah, it was Leaf.
Oh, okay.
It's Leaf, but it's spelled just L-I-F.
L-I-E-F.
No, just L-I-F.
L-I-F.
Oh,
Wait. Boss lady, you're saying there might be a decent shot that this place could actually be haunted.
We do not appreciate this line of conversation. We really do not. Please do not continue.
Well,
Please do not continue.
all I know
Please
is
do.
that. Well, Epi, it's okay. He puts his arms around Epi. Come on, it's okay. Calm down.
You have granted him another fixation. We do not appreciate this.
Look, all I'm going to say is, I really hope someone answers that rectangular gnomish communication device, because I freaking called it!
Where are the group of you actually standing? You've got your tokens scattered all over, but I think you're discussing it all in the tap room.
I'm not on the same layer. I'm still outside, in my view.
Epiphany establishes a mental connection
I
with
see
Knocker
you
and
in the
says,
tap
"You
room.
brought this."
Can't you see you in the tap room?
No, I'm outside.
He's shouting at us from the outhouse.
The only token I see is this one right here. Can anybody else see this one?
I can see it.
You put me on the alley map.
Oh, he's actually on the other map. Like his band.
I forgot I had him moved. Oh, okay. Which one did I have you
Troll
on?
Skull Alley.
Okay. There we go.
There we are.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, Cashin will stay at the. Actually, no, he'll be at the bar.
Yeah, I would be talking to Nakri, so I'm over by her.
Would Epiphany, Relian, and Cashin give me a perception roll?
Who?
Epiphany, Cashin, and Relian.
Cashin's too busy with his soup.
Epiphany is the first one to notice that the mirror he so carefully repaired and cleaned has writing on it again.
He goes over and he looks at it.
And it says, written like finger writing on the mirror, like smears of something on the mirror, is written, "Looking better." which is what you're standing on.
Wait, what did it say?
It says looks better, and then so Epiphany looks at the mirror.
Valkyrie has this strange, excited look on her face for like a brief moment before she kind of like regains composure and goes, "I want to know more about this ghost."
I do as well, and I am going to reveal myself as a grave cleric. I will cast Eyes of the Grave.
Okay, give me a documentation on it so that I know.
Yep. Can this work? It can. Yep, here we go. This can work.
Epiphany starts crying.
Relian hugs Epi.
They made you correct, friend Rillian.
Epi, it's time you learned a very important lesson in life. I'm always correct, and when I'm not, I make it so.
There is, and once again, I've had this problem before, but I don't know why. Epiphany's name disappears in certain positions, but there's nothing on the map to block it out. I don't know why.
It's the ghost.
We apologize, we are
apparently-
aberrant.
Apparently it's the ghost. Anyway, maybe it is. It could be. Literally.
Was there? Oh.
You definitely detect the presence of some kind of specter or spirit that seems to be floating around right near Epiphany behind the bar.
I walk calmly over to Epiphany. I probably looking up above him. Spirit, can you understand me?
The writing on the mirror disappears. And there is a long gap. And just about the time you think that it can't and it doesn't understand you, you slowly see a scrawl go across the mirror that spells out, yes.
Oh, this is terribly exciting.
Relian's just chanting to himself, "We live in a haunted tavern. We live in a haunted tavern."
I put a hand on Epiphany's shoulder and I tell him, I do apologize. It is unfortunate that your friend is indeed right.
I'm always right.
Except for the talking horse.
Can I roll another insight check on that?
On what?
on his little quip there, except for the talking horse. I want to see how good a liar he is.
You know what? You know what? Oh,
Go
what are you trying to do?
Inside checks are free.
Nat one. Oh, snap. You came prepared.
For the first time, you kind of double take it as comment, and you're starting to wonder if he doesn't really see and hear things that you thought. What else does he see there, Shepherd?
Relian tilts his head at the shepherd, and for a very brief second, his ever-shifting eyes actually settle on one color, a very bright red, as he looks at the shepherd and says, he tilts his head and just says, "Yeah, I'm starting to wonder about that," before his eyes start shifting again.
Well, you know what they say about curiosity, and I just keep looking at the mirror.
Curiosity killed the tabaxi.
Gentlemen.
And Revelation brought it back.
Gentlemen, I think we are missing a much more grander picture than simply whether one person is right or not. We have here a lovely young person who, unfortunately, cannot pass on, has history with this building, and may be able to guide us in a few decorative suggestions.
Wait, Knocker, you're a genius. Spirit, can you cook or serve drinks?
I think that's going a little far, but
The mirror,
We are also
however,
getting-
writes a second yes.
Would you like to cook for us?
No.
Would you like to cook for our customers?
No.
Oh.
Are you
think
able
it was
to
able to,
visually manifest?
Long pause. Yes.
Well, from what I recall, from what I've been told, you're very attached to this place, Spirit.
Yes.
We understand this. We understand the possibility that you do not like us intruding on this place.
No.
No as in they don't like it, or no as in they're okay with us?
I think it's more along the lines of when we first appeared, she wasn't exactly sure what our intentions were. She has seen today that we've been spending time fixing the building, which is something that she cares about. So clearly her opinion went from "no, I don't like you" to "yes, I'm sort of happy over here." I hope that's correct.
Is that correct, Spirit?
Yes.
We should probably call her by her actual name. Yes? Leaf, I believe it was.
And again, the words disappear on the mirror and appears yes. And suddenly there is a very cold air feeling alongside Epiphany.
Epiphany is trying to lock visually on whatever is forming.
Oh my god, look at the map.
Oh, damn.
Oh, goodness, it was the ghost.
That is pretty cool. Oh, so yeah, I guess I would be over here now.
May we touch your mind?
I've
No.
never actually seen a spirit.
Have you ever tried to with a spirit before, Epiphany?
No, that is why I wish to. It would seem to be an interesting thought process, much as another creature recently.
The ghost just is standing there and she keeps looking from one to the other of you. And each time you ask her a question, there is just like a slight movement of her hand and the one-word answer appears.
Are you unable to move on because of your attachment to this place?
Yes.
What would put you at ease, my dear?
She looks a little twisted, like she can't quite form the answer.
If we were to bring success for this building back, restore it to its former or even greater glory, would that put your mind at ease to know that there are people here who care as much about this place as you did?
Suddenly, she looks very happy and a very large yes appears on the mirror.
Until we're able to do so, would you be able to assist us just for a little while?
Yes.
Leaf, when working here, people would probably be more welcoming of the fact that it's not haunted, that they're not being helped by a ghost, but rather some kind of magic would be involved, puts their minds at ease. Would that be fine for you?
Yes.
It will be like a game.
She looks over at Epiphany and she kind of tilts her head and studies him. She seems fascinated by him.
Which part of the tavern would you like to help us in?
She reaches out and pats the counter.
The bartender.
I think you have backup. Or someone who will actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, then the kitchen's all mine.
We have made a mistake.
Look, he has to cook something that everyone can agree to. That's the
Perhaps that would put your mind at ease, Comcorpse, if friend Relian were to simply make something. And then you could try it without my preferences involved.
It's not your preferences involved. I understand that he makes food specifically for you. He is unknown. We don't know how good his food will be.
That is why we say perhaps he should run a test, and friend Relian can cook for you to your specification.
There's no harm in at least trying it out.
I've got just the thing.
I mean,
There
food
could be a
poisoning is
lot of
one thing,
harm.
but
Sorry.
Relian goes running into the kitchen. I must be creative.
No, that's exactly what he does, and as he's running there, he's putting on his frilly yellow apron that says "Can't keep a madman down."
Be not afraid, Comcorpse. You shall survive this.
That's kind of a dead giveaway. No pun intended. Ha ha ha.
And Cashin goes back to chatting up with the Spectre. So, topic.
I'll be the one to break the ice. Were you really murdered here?
Yes.
Hell of an icebreaker.
Yes.
Do you seek justice?
I was about to ask that too.
She tips her head and there's a slight pause and she says no.
Is there a reason why?
Are we irritating you with the probing questions?
She looks at Cashin and says yes. As she looks at him, the right word yes appears. And then when she looks at Epiphany, she says no.
You are not yet used to the probing. You're not yet tired of them. Very well. And Epiphany goes off to look around for which room he's going to claim. And I'll be right back.
And Leaf, as you guys kind of wander off a little bit, and she's not as busy talking, she begins to move her hand and the counter begins to get cleared off and things seem to move and go down under the counter and get arranged.
Doctor will study her and watch her for a while and then smile. You truly are an amazing individual.
She smiles brightly at you.
That's definitely an interesting spectacle, especially if you're invisible. That'll definitely sell.
Well, we're not trying to put her on display, but we're trying to get things
I know.
started.
Well, as she's agreed to, we can put her on display and just say that it's a magical effect.
Leaf, is there anyone in particular that you need to send a message to? Family, friends?
No. She just she thinks for a moment and the writing appears no, and she just kind of shakes her head.
All right. Well, your dream is to see us succeed, and we want to succeed, so I think this is a very mutual beneficial arrangement.
She smiles again, and the word yes appears.
Now we'll just need to get procure. Actually, do you know who might be good to procure supplies from? If you remember,
Yes.
I would love to have some names to go to.
And Cashin already has paper and parchment out.
Yep. She, the mirror appears, and a list starts writing down on it. She gives you 3 vintners' names that basically you get brewer or vintner after the name. That one of them is from one of the farms outside the city. Knockbury would recognize that it's one of the landholders near nobility that owns a large vineyard outside the city. And then the other 2 names aren't as well known. If you don't know the Brewers Guild itself, you wouldn't probably know their names. So you get
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Mm-hmm. Well, as Cashin's writing down the list, he just looks at Knockgreen and says, "So, see, Tully got some work done."
Even more so, I think there was something about the place that he really wanted to work extra hard on. I'm gonna have to make sure I tip him very well for his service. He did really go above and beyond what I paid for.
Well, actually, you give this to him, and Cashin hands out 10 gold, 10 dragons.
I'll be sure to do so soon. I'm actually going to most likely if there's time today or possibly tomorrow, go and see what sort of arrangement we can make with the 2 Genasi.
Yeah, they can definitely help us with any iron-related things like windows.
And also it would be pots and pans and maybe bedsteads and
guardrails.
that type of thing. Yes, wrought iron is one of their specialties.
While this list is being made up, I go and ask, Leaf, is there any person or business that we should probably avoid, either through reputation or if you know that they are, if they have ill intent?
She looks a little ill at ease, and she looks at each one of you who are still in the tap room, and she looks like she's just looking through you for a long time, and finally she just writes on the what we'll call the blackboard, the mirror board. She writes Xans, Xans.
All right.
The Xanathar Guild.
Don't think so.
She She actually writes yes and nods as she does it. She nods at the shepherd.
So we were already wary of anyone's eye on their forehead, but now we can be especially careful when in their presence.
Well, for some of us, that's going to be a little harder than than before. We sort of found one of their underground lairs and caused a little havoc on the way out.
Pretty much.
Lyric has told me about it. He didn't tell me all the details. I'm assuming that it was a lot worse than he had let on.
We killed one of their, I guess you could say one of their
Let's
middlemen.
not use that word here. You put him down.
More like we
Send
made
him
sure
on
he wasn't.
vacation.
We made sure he wasn't going to get up from his nap anytime soon.
It looks like you just made some very powerful enemies. If they remember all of your faces, that is.
They. I think mine is the only face that they really got to look at.
Then correction. You made some very powerful enemies then.
Yeah, Cashin was definitely wearing his hood.
Oh, it's not that hard to not be noticeable, unfortunately. Thankfully, with notoriety and being who I am, at least I bring a little bit too much attention to myself for them to just easily pick off.
Better notoriety with them than the people that we tend to help.
Well, if it wasn't for their actions, we wouldn't have gotten involved in the first place. They did sort of kidnap a friend of someone else's, and this is how we ended up with this place. If it wasn't,
the DM is going to insert OOC here that it is now about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you plan on going to the Justice League of America? Do you plan on going to the Justice League?
Yeah, Cashin is going to do that. He's done with his meal.
I might just go with you, since technically adding the charges of attacking a citizen and noble of Waterdeep, I believe, is somewhere on that parchment of hell. Just to make sure, Cashin does look at the parchment that he was given.
It contains some numbers that look like they are case or trial official numbers of a certain listing, and it has the name of the drow that you, from what you gather, it has saloon attached to it, and so you believe it has his name, and a list of names which you recognize from your investigation as the various individuals that were killed, plus the one that was accosted that night that you saved. And it basically, it's the full delineation of current charges and individuals that were deceased.
And what are the charges?
At this time, it's basically murder, multiple murder.
Well, definitely make sure we have to add in attempted murder of a noble and a attempted murder of a guard.
Now, I will repeat again, OOC, that when you are reading the Code Legal, and it talks about a murder of a noble or attempted murder of a noble, it has to be a recognized noble family. You could be the king of Pottsylvania, and it wouldn't matter if you are not a recognized noble of this city.
Yeah, no,
not even a visiting nobility.
Now, obviously, if certain arrangements were made and they were properly received by the the open lords and certain things, that would be a different case. But in Nakri's specific case, she has just quietly slipped in without notifying anybody of her standing or requesting any particular special favors.
Now, what about
Not
Flume
yet.
and Neverember? Is Flume a noble as well, or is it just
It's
Neverember?
not Flume, never, yeah, only Renair.
No, I know it's two
Flume
people.
is not a
Flume-
noble.
That's what I was asking.
He's like the seventh son of a seventh son kind of thing. He has noble blood in him, but he has no standing. He is considered basically a commoner by the law.
Okay.
He's a freaking powerful
Renair-
sorcerer.
Renair is clearly considered of noble blood, and he is over the line in the category of it.
Right, but he's also in safe custody, and he's probably already made that.
Well, that's not related to Saloon.
Yeah.
No, too much into one side of the thing that we're not on yet.
But yeah, so anyway, yeah, we're going to the Justice Department.
Well, before you go, let me talk with Epiphany and Raelian quick, because I may join you in this.
Yeah, right before they start to head out, you just hear a "Eureka!" from the kitchen, and he starts running out holding a steaming plate.
Well, I'll take this to go, possibly, then, Raelian and Epiphany. The fellow that tried to steal the horse, is that a person that we want to pursue with the Justice Department?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes.
He's a misguided pal of ours. We'll talk to him later, maybe.
Insight check on that.
You do realize that he assaulted a priest? That is an assault against the gods.
Cassian would, what would he see with that role? He would recognize a little bit that something's going on there. How much would he see, would you say?
Oh, let's just match it with a full-on deception roll, and we'll see
All
what the
right.
difference is.
Actually, I think I should probably roll insight after he did say that it was a friend of theirs. Because
Okay.
Acquaintance, I
did-
should
Yeah.
say.
So, Cassian, you get the feeling that it's not quite on the up and up. The shepherd, however, he looks at them and you can tell they're hiding something.
Look, don't worry about that. Come and enjoy my masterpiece.
I look at it. What is it?
On the plate is a golden brown, steaming, cut into 4 separate squares. It's just a very nice looking cheese and spiced meat toasty.
You made pizza.
No, it's just
No, it's a pizza
basically-
roll.
No, it's basically well, sure. Let's go with pizza rolls. That sounds funnier.
He invented pizza rolls.
The
No,
madness.
it's a fancy grilled cheese, but
It's a very fancy grilled cheese and meat sandwich.
So a large pizza roll.
sure.
I'll go over just because Relian tried at it, and I will
Yeah.
take a slice to go.
Yep, I do take a slice as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, Cashin says, "What the hell," and just grabs one, eat it on the go.
Aged
food.
cheddar,
And then-
spiced meat. It's delicious.
And then an out of character question. So I have these tickets. Are they dated and timed and whatnot?
Yes, they are. They have 2 different dates on them.
What's the closest date? Is that today, tonight,
2 days from now.
2 days from now? Okay, then I'm not going to worry about the tickets then for now. Yeah, I'll just take mine to go then. Thank you, Riley.
Eat it.
I am. If you just don't interrupt me, and I'm gonna go ahead and eat it. Now I'm under the assumption I'm gonna make a Constitution save.
No, he actually attempted to make good normal food. How good he did is kind of up to Ruth at this point.
1d20 roll.
Do you have any particular ability in cooking? You will give me
He's had to survive on his own cooking for years before he met Epi, and after he met Epi, he's had to get more creative. And I will say this, he literally uses magic in his cooking, so...
Give me a dex roll with advantage.
Okay.
So
Let's see how good, let's see how good his cooking is.
Just a flat-out dex roll?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes!
Yes, he did quite well with it, actually.
It is acceptable.
You see him start to slowly pull out his ritual dagger from his sleeve. What?
Come on, let's
acceptable.
get going.
I was expecting something way worse, and you definitely surprised me.
Nakri, Cashin, what do you think? See, I called you by your name. Now you have to try it.
Cashin's already left.
Elvis has left the building.
Nakri, will you please talk to that boy when you get a chance? But how do you like it?
And she'll just take the time, take a bite, savor the taste. None. It's not bad.
Yay! Now let's go to the legal department. The kitchen is my domain.
Friend,
Are you sure you want to go to the legal department?
friend Aurelian.
Yeah.
Sorry, do we not have our own thing to do?
Oh, right. Yeah, you guys have fun. We're going to go do errands. We're going to pick up the last slice and leave it on the counter in front of Leaf and say, "You enjoy that. We'll be back later."
Do be safe and don't get yourselves into too much trouble.
Yes, wise to not associate with them publicly. We would not want our reputation damaged.
If we're not back in 12 hours, just wait longer.
I feel like I should chaperone them.
Nah.
No, we do not wish you to chaperone us.
That would mean you
Which
get in the
just makes
crossfire.
me more likely to do so.
You just get caught in the crossfire.
1 second.
Onward, friend Rel. On.
All right, Rel and Epiphany are going back to, we'll call it the office, or are they going investigating to places?
We're taking the initiative on this one, I think.
We are hunting that biznatch down.
Okay, so you're trying to identify who those people were?
Yeah, we're trying to find... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're trying to find out the guy who was trying to take the horse. We've got a description. We're trying to find out a name, and then we're going hunting.
Okay, so you're going to the office to see if you can tie some names to it?
Yeah, maybe Del would know the name.
Actually, would he have given us a name when Epi described him to him the first time?
No, neither the horse nor the owner knew their names.
Well, because we saw the guy when we went there the first time, right?
Right.
So when Epiphany went back to deliver the initial thing, like, oh hey, this guy is not, he's not on our side anymore.
He wants to see you in jail.
Yeah, would Epiphany have been able to get the guy's name then?
Yes, and I've got to give me a second. I've got to pull that up. I don't have it up. That's this one. He would have suggested that it was probably Erstal Floxen for the man. He did not necessarily know the woman, but he looked like he was considering it, like he had maybe some names that he was thinking of. I'll write the name of the first one.
Okay, so Urstil Floxen was probably the horse thief guy, or if not, he is now. Okay.
He wasn't the guy that was holding the horse, but he was the two passengers that were described to you are the ones that basically, apparently, they got this guy to try and steal the horse. There's the name of the one that Davil thinks he recognizes. Okay, so you are dealing with Davil at the moment, and he gives you this name, and then you can do what you want with it. He says, I am also considering the orc woman that was described. I have several possibilities. A couple of them, I hope I am wrong.
Perhaps we could encourage them to come speak with you.
There is a lopsided, one-sided grin. Yes, from what you said, I would very much like Urstil to come speak with me.
Would you enjoy it enough to invest in us?
In what way? I would be certainly willing to reward you for getting him here.
Perfect. We shall hunt. And then
Beware.
he'll relay that to Ren.
Urstil is a highly trained assassin.
Still ran away from us. Doesn't seem so good in a straight up fight, but we'll
No,
definitely
you
be
have
careful.
not.
No.
No.
Yeah.
You're getting
She was
there
saying
are
Urstil.
There are three
There's
people
three people.
involved. There's the guy that you accosted in the street. He's
Okay.
dangerous, but he's not the two that the horse saw. This guy was apparently attempting to get the horse away because the horse may have known what was going on. So there's some suspicion about what the horse is doing. Then you've got the other two people, which are Urstil and an orc woman.
Oh wow, this is really unfolded. We were just going after the goon.
Well, I'm thinking first we hunt down the goon. Like our thought was first we hunt down the goon, and then see if we can get more information about the bigger targets, and then if those are reasonable, we bring that back to the group.
Who of the two of you wants to roll a die for me?
I'll do it. I haven't rolled much tonight.
Yeah, I'm thinking with that insight and that dex check, I've kind of used up my luck. Go for it, dude.
Give me give me an investigation roll. Actually, what I want, rather than that, give me first an investigation roll, which is going to tell me something else. So give me just a straight investigation roll first. I just want information.
Oh, that
It's helping me. Could it have advantage?
could I give him
This
something?
is no advantage. This is just an information number for me.
Yep.
All right. Now, would you give me a 1d10 roll, please?
Oh!
I hope that's good.
Not in this case. It's going to take you pretty much a week to come up with the information. You are digging in the depths of people who know how to hide, assassins who know how to stab you in the back. You are getting in very close to being over your head. People will not want to talk to you. People who know information will just suddenly decide they don't want to talk to you. So for the next 10 days of operation, you are going to have to give me an investigation roll, and it will have to beat your 13.
Ooh, that is not good at all.
So it's going to take a while to come up with this information of who and what they were doing, because you are very much in the foundational dregs of the worst of the people that know how to do these things. And on top of it, tied to somebody who doesn't want people to know he's around.
That's fair.
If since this is going to take us 10 days, and since we're both doing this, can both of us get an investigation roll every day?
Yes.
Okay, so odds are at least one of us might make it above 13. Who knows?
Yeah, for each day that you make it above 13, you'll get a piece of information. And at the end of the 10 days, you'll have I'll have given you enough that you will be able to start to figure out where you're looking for people. And I need to make note on my calendar here. You are currently on this day, which is the 15th, so it won't be until the 25th that okay.
Yeah. Is there still a possibility that we can track down the goon, or is the goon part of this?
No, this is all going to be tied into one thing. You'll get pieces of information based on your investigation. Now, you can give me, when you go out on the streets for today, each of you can give me an investigation roll for today.
Can I roll something different, please?
No, you tied your 13. That's a win. What about Ralph?
Okay, one sec.
Hey,
As you are about to leave, Davil calls you back and he says, I hate to believe it because she's been my ears in the yawning portal for a very long while. But I'm terribly afraid that Yagra might be tied into this. Be careful. And
maybe
give me, each of you give me an intelligence roll. Let me see if you remember who Yagra is.
I remember who Yagra is.
I remember too.
I remember her too.
My brain is foggy, but
Relian definitely remembers that the orc woman that got jumped by the Xanathar gang was called
Epi.
Yagra.
I remember her.
Epi, you remember? Green Smasher, you remember?
Yes, we remember Green Smasher.
Oh yeah, those two are on their own. I forgot. Yeah.
Well, it is getting late. We should head back.
All right, now let's see. So they would not be able to go, if they are doing the office thing, they wouldn't be able to go to the Justice Department.
We do not wish to go to the Justice Department.
That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, you two would probably need to steer clear of it.
Cashin would know exactly where it was. The shepherd was not involved, so it would be Nokri and Cashin that would head there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'm going with them.
All right. So it is in basically up in the district that is around the castle itself, the inner workings of where the lords live and so forth. It is in the High Mucky Muck district of fancy offices and such things. And you come into a woman at a desk who is typical, pushing papers from one side to the other and stamping them as she goes, and she looks up as the two of you walk in. Yes, may I help you? She's saying that to Cashin and Nokri.
Oh,
And
Cash
Shepherd.
in had the ninja for a moment.
Okay. So Nokri will have to take over the conversation, and the shepherd. How would you respond?
And I'm under the assumption that we have another ninja. Right? So what was the question again?
What can I do for you?
Well, we are here because of...
And back.
Oh, there we go. All right.
There we go.
Saves me the trouble because I don't have the stuff.
One of the initial people at the front desk has asked how she can help you at the Justice.
Cash-in will hand over the paper and says, "I'd like to file a I'd like
Claims?
to take part in. Yeah,
Sorry.
I'd like to file a claim against you in this incident."
Oh, yes, the incident of last night. Yes, I have it right here, and she starts digging down through a stack that's probably about 1.5 feet high of folders, and she looks at each tab as she goes down through. No. Ah, here it is, and she pulls out one of the smaller folders. It doesn't have a lot in it yet, and she opens it up. Yes, saloon.
Well, last night while we were protecting the individual he was targeting,
I think you got that a little bit backwards. We were inquiring upon business opportunities with the individual when we were walking down when I was walking down the alley and you were waiting for us. And that's when that's when the whole thing went down. We were shot at, you got injured.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. The whole thing is a bit of a hard to remember since he attacked me with his sword, and I'm deathly allergic to sharp items.
I'm pulling you over onto this page because I need names and things. His name was Saloons Brindis, and I need to find the guy that was attacked. Hope I've still got him on there. Yeah, his name was Heldar. Yeah, his name was Heldar. So the players in question here were those two guys, if you need names. So we'll basically we'll leave one of these veterans here for the magistrate that you're talking to, and just basically make this our useful map for the moment. And these are the names being held. And I need a shepherd. Shepherd, drag your token on there, would you?
Oh, yep. Let me get to the... Nope, that ain't it. Come on. How do you do it? Isn't it just drag?
Grab the name itself.
Oh, the name, not the icon.
And
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I keep forgetting that too sometimes.
Wait, this is historically inaccurate. He wasn't there.
No, but he decided to go to the magistrate. So we're reusing this for a magistrate victim or visit. She says it was Saloons of Brindis was the one who was arrested last night. There will be a trial in 5 days. Will you be able to attend and testify?
I don't seem to have an issue with it.
Yeah, put me down as tentative.
Very good. Could I have the names of those who were involved with the incident last night?
My name is Cashin. You probably seen my name in some of those reports before.
She would ask for your full name. I don't know if you've got a full name, but she would ask for it and write down the full name. And then she would turn to you, Nokri.
He will say it in a whisper.
All right. Very good. She will write down the full name. And Nokri, she will turn to you. And your name? What is your name, ma'am?
Nakaris Nakari.
She starts to write it down, and she kind of blinks and looks up. Are you related to the Nakaris line?
Yes. Why?
just wish to know if you have any other things that I should be aware of. I will make note of that you have connections from family. And then she will turn to the shepherd and she will recognize you. She says, "Ah, shepherd, were you there last night?"
I was not. I am here for a separate incident, though.
I see. Very good. We'll handle that then separately. Who else was there? Was it just the two of you? I seem to have an indication there were 4 individuals assisting.
Yes, the other 2 could not make it. They had errands to run.
Well, I will need to have them report in and turn in their names if we are to pay everyone the monies that are involved in this incident, should he be found guilty. Now then, Mr. Cashin, you were saying there were additional charges?
Well, he did attack, besides the fact that he attacked me, I don't think there are any other charges.
Let's see, we've got the attack on the individual we were talking to.
And Mr.
Technically,
Heldar, yes, he's
Yes.
been detained. He wished to continue to sail. His ship was supposed to have left this morning, and he was resistant to sailing with her, but we have obtained a levy against his captain, and the captain has left him behind. He's not pleased with that.
I doubt he is. But
Poor thing.
then there was my attack, and
technically, you were attacked trying to apprehend. I was technically attacked just by proxy. I mean, if you count by proxy of being with the actual intended target.
So the two of you were actually attacked in addition to this Mr. Heldar.
yes.
He missed whatever he did to do the attack. He missed, but I was with Helgar, walking with him, meeting up with Cashin.
Yes, and when I tried to chase after him, he pulled out his scimitar and slashed at me.
She writes in rather rapidly. She writes down several notes, additional complainants, Cashin and Nakri, and you can see that she's making note. How extensive were your injuries, Mr. Cashin?
I was at death's door.
Severe injuries. And yours, Miss Nakri?
Thankfully, not as severe. Mostly a miss, but
assault only, then.
Yes.
And so she writes down assault with a deadly weapon and the names and so forth as it's related to that. She says, very well, I will put your names down. For the two of you showing up, there will be 75 gold for each of you out of the 300 first. And she digs in the drawer and pours quite a number of coins out on the desk and counts out 75 of them to each of you, pours the rest back into the purse and puts it back into the locked drawer that she has. So each of you are now 75 gold. Wealthy.
And just for the curiosity's sake, and for actually aiding and apprehending the target.
That is what this reward is for
Understood.
Information and actions leading to the arrest of. That is what it is for. Now, should he be found guilty, you would be certainly liable to personal claims against the man for additional charges, and he would have to pay additional sums.
Sorry. Winnie. Poor cat sneezing behind me.
Oh, that's what that little squeak was.
Yeah.
Cat sneeze.
She's like a foot behind me, and the poor thing is just the allergy season is just really bad out here, so she's just like dry sneezing. Quick, it's my pet monkey.
So basically it boils down to what she's saying is you have a finder's fee for getting him arrested, assisting in that, and that's what the 75 each is out of the 300 purse. And then, which has been set aside for the 4 of you. And then if you wish to file charges, which you have just done, each of you would be available to, in effect, the Waterdeepian equivalent of suing the man for additional funds for assault and battery.
I'm looking at the code legal now. Assaulting a citizen, imprisonment up to a 10-day flogging, and damages up to 1,000 dragons.
So if he's found guilty, the 2 of you would certainly be able to claim additional monies. And of course, obviously, the higher your standing, the more your monies would be that would be paid off.
No, I was thinking severity, but yeah, fair enough.
And severity will play a part. It's all part of that.
All right.
Very good. So 5 days from now is the trial, so you need to make note of that. Will be on the 20th of it'll be on the 20th of the month, whatever the month is. I can't remember. Lent.
Can't hear you.
Oh, excuse me, I was pushing the wrong button. The trial of Saloon is on the 20th of Lent. 5 days from now, you're currently on the 15th day of Lent. It will be, Actually, no, I've got that wrong. I was looking at the wrong thing. You're currently on the 27th day of Lent. The trial will be on the 2nd day of Harvesttide, because you're coming up on the 5-day, the half-week, non-month. Between seasons, there are non-months that are 5 days long that basically adjust the calendar for their 30-day months, how they do it. So you have a period between each of the seasons that are 5 days long, where it's usually partying. So it will be on the 2nd day of Harvesttide is when the trial will be.
All right. Cashton will make sure to write that down on a note.
And she takes all that information and she says, please be sure to have the other 2 come in and file any charges which they may have and collect their 75 gold as well.
Certainly.
We'll do. We'll have a chat with him later. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure. I had a thought and brain process, and then I thought how to start wording it.
And by the way, while you're thinking about that, Brett, ticket number 1 is for the 29th of Lent, 4 days from now. Right here, you're on the 27th, 2 days from now. And the second one is for exactly a week later. So 27, that would be 37.
The 7th of Harvesttide?
Well, the way there is no 7th of Harvesttide. That's why I'm trying to wrap my brain around how they do this. There would be 2 days to Harvesttide, and then so that would be another 7 days, 5, 6, 7. It would be on the 2nd of Marpena would be the second ticket.
Okay.
All right.
And then what was the show's name again? I know that it's something in Giant for the language, but I don't know if you told me the show's name.
Yes, I did, and I can't remember what it was now. I've got to look that back up.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it was some famous event, and I can't remember what it was.
We'll figure it out later. We can keep the game going.
Very good.
I had one small question. I have come to realize that perhaps I have not properly introduced myself to the city. I actually am an out-of-town noble visiting, but I didn't want to really make too much of a fuss over my presence here. But due to recent events, I kind of feel that it would both be in my benefit to do so.
Oh, yes, very good. Please, you will need to present yourself at the accommodations department at the castle itself. There is a department which receives and records the papers of any visiting nobles. They are run there by, not surprisingly, by the Lord's Alliance, because they want to be sure that they have recognized anyone who has come into town, which should be properly acknowledged.
Yes, like I said, I had wanted to keep my presence low key, but I figured with situations like this, and just my very bad sense of wanting to do good things, I probably would be in my best interest to actually meet with them.
Yes, ma'am, it probably would be. They would feel very remiss if they have not properly welcomed you.
Understood. I will make. How soon should I attempt to do this?
Oh, the sooner the better, of course. They would like to know that you are in town. And the longer it goes, the more chances there are for some unsavory people to do harm or theft upon your person.
Surprisingly, not that worried about that. I don't know why. I probably should be a little bit more so, but like I said, I tended to travel in just for the sake of travel.
I understand. However, it would be quite embarrassing should a traveling noble be harmed within our city and they were not even informed. They could have, an international incident occur.
I would make sure that didn't come to it. But no, I do understand your point immensely. I would go as soon as the early bright in the morrow.
She nods. I'm very happy to make your acquaintance. Is there anything else I can help you regarding the crime in question?
No.
She would turn towards the shepherd, kind of tilt her head at him. You say you had something else to record?
Yes, I do. I would like to crime against my person.
Oh, really? You were attacked? Oh, that's terrible. Please.
Indeed, I was.
And she hands you a form that's been printed out by some printers that has the name of assailant, name of a person who was attacked, date and time and place, the typical crime form, and she hands it to you. It's got a whole bunch of lines for you to describe the attack in detail if you wish.
I don't have a name of the attacker, fortunately. I mean, I do have a name, but I know the name of the attacker.
Right, and in that case, of course, you would describe the individual in detail that attacked you or whatever. It would be a unknown name, but the following description sort of thing.
Right. And I would detail that what little I would about any information, because I don't want, the horse get ratted out or anything.
Right.
So, I was following, I heard rumor of a lost soul that needed help, and I found that his horse was possibly stolen, and I found his horse, pretty much.
And I assume you give the stable owner's name and so forth for
Yep,
so
the stable owner, Joshua Eobed?
yes.
Yeah, Joshua Eobed is the person who I had aided. And I would tell them that, like, it's nothing, like, it wasn't life-threatening. They didn't do anything major harm, although my role would like to disagree with me, and I would show the slashed rope sleeve.
She nods. I will certainly get this report to the city guards immediately. We need to track this down. We can't have our priests attacked in the street. That's terrible.
Indeed.
We will notify you, and she'll ask where your all of you, where your residence is and so forth, so she can verify where you can be reached.
I would be currently in the Troll Skull Manor over on Troll Skull Alley, but if I am not found there, you could leave it with my compatriots. Otherwise, I may go back for a little bit of business that I still may need to attend at the City of the Dead.
And she will be writing furiously, taking all of this down with it. Anything else that I can help you with, I will pass this on to the enforcement people.
Nothing that comes to mind. I believe I gave all the relevant information.
Well, thank you very much for being good citizens, and even if you are not of this city, we appreciate the fact that you are willing to put your neck out a bit to see to it that crime is diminished. And she will file all the papers from Nockery and Cashin into the folder that she had, and she will pull out another folder and write some information on the tab of it and put your papers inside that one, Shepard. All right, so we are at a good break point here. So we have gotten our list of what employees you need. And one thing that you'll need to discuss during the week for your homework is how much food, probably Relian will have to do a lot of this, talking with what monies you have. You've got to order food from the guild that handles meat, the carvers and butchers or something. I've got it somewhere, but I don't have it handy. But you have a vintner thing, but you're going to have to obtain licensing fees for serving drinks and food and get that arranged. So know that will be in the involvement with your food and drink. So there are fees coming with this. So you're going to have to tell me how much food, is it just going to be like little finger snacks, or are you going to try to serve entire meals? Obviously, the cost will go up.
I think we're going for light meals to go with their drinks. I think that's the ideal plan.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the pricing is too far out of the pale, then we'll just just drinks for now. Maybe we just do drinks.
Yeah, I mean, it can always be drinks and nuts for the time being. Just a bowl of nuts sitting on the counter. I'm sure there's some kind of nuts in this kingdom. There's lots of nuts running around in this game.
I mean, we got one of them working in the kitchen.
I mean, there's also a possibility that we find somebody who, like a street vendor, that might be willing to work with us? ?
Yeah, or
And
maybe even allow them to set up their cart outside your place because you're going to have a grand opening, and they might want to pay you a little fee for some sidewalk space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's still have things to chew on. It's like the day is spent trying to investigate where we get the food.
Question.
Okay, so.
Okay, Lynn, you finish yours.
Sorry, and not to super cut across you, Sam. So I figured tomorrow I'll deal with the nobles who wants to take on the food and procuring the drinks.
Very good. Okay. So write that down yourself. And Cashin will be handling what?
Cashin will go back to Trench and see about those names.
All right, very good. And Rel, what were you asking?
You know what? I kind of forgot, but do have some. So, two things. So, one, after we get everything sorted, Relian could introduce himself as Relian, licensed chef. But so Cashin's going to investigate the names. Nakri is going to get the gold situated and actually start to get some of the licenses we'll need. I guess Relian and Epi will. I guess we'll say they went to the office low key before next session and just said, "Hey, we're so and so. We were involved in this situation." But also, something Rel also has to do is, like you said, he has to meet up with the guild of carvers and butchers and grocers and everything and get some kind of deal going.
Yeah, you'll have to be licensed through the Cooks Guild, and then you'll have to arrange for meats and things to be delivered. Meats, breads, etc., depending on the level. That's why I need from you what level of food so that I can start researching what the costs are for each of them, because there's a whole bunch of charts. And you guys can do that too. You can go into your books and things, find out what the costs are.
Well, Rel already has gold. Rel already has a bit of gold that he's donating towards the restoration of the troll skull. If he needs to, he'll dip into his own personal funds, because he definitely does want at least light meals to be served with the booze.
Well, you can always use the reward money that you get.
That's what I mean.
75,
That's what I was going to say. You can go ahead and add that 70, since you are going to go ahead tomorrow morning and report there and receive it. It would be too late tonight because it's closing time basically at the
Gotcha.
Justice Department. So. But you would be able to go there tomorrow morning and give her a fake name or whatever, but get your name on the list so that you can get your 75. So each of you would then get your 75 portions to use.
Yeah,
You can introduce yourself as Aloysius.
Right. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and. So I'm going to go ahead and deduct 57 gold here, 50 going to Nakri for the restoration, and 7 for the publicity, and then after that I'm just going to add 75 again.
Very good. And kind of in keeping with the topic we're on at the moment, and some trivia, I'll beat Rel to his trivia tonight. Do you know, how many of you know what that song really is, what Alouette is? It is very much matching the theme.
I think I used to know, because I think we were taught in one of my French classes during either middle school or high school, but I don't remember anymore.
It is a song of a cook that is plucking a chicken.
Okay.
And it goes through each of the parts of the chicken, and je te plumerai, I'm going to pluck, deplume you, I'm going to deplume your head, I'm going to deplume your wing, and you know.
Okay. Then, yeah, I don't think I was. I was probably taught of a different song.
Frère de Jacques, Frère de Jacques.
That's
Probably
a
not
different
that
one.
one either.
That's a
Yeah,
different
that
one.
one. Yeah,
I mean,
that's...
Ring Around the Rosie was the Black Plague, so.
Yeah. But anyway, Alouette, gentle. He's saying, poor gentle Alouette, I'm afraid I've got to cook you. I'm going to pluck your head. I'm going to pluck your body. And yeah, he's about to cook the chicken. Anyway, so with that trivia in mind, what wisdom does Rel have for us tonight?
Bye, everybody. Remember, if you're going to tell people an ugly truth, be funny, or they will kill you.
Probably more truth in that than
That
you
is
really
historically
like.
true.
Don't kill the messenger. I'm just the messenger. Well, very good. In that case, we will see you all in a week again for the building of Trollskull Manor. And next Saturday, we will be back in the land of Mir, trying to save the kingdom when we don't even know what we're saving right now. It's very interesting.
We're trying to restore a business.
The end of days have come.
And then I am also sharing on this stream on Wednesday nights. I'm sharing the Wednesday night stream, which is based on Final Fantasy. They're having adventures on that one, so that one's being shared on here as well. So we got a new one.
Yeah, I was tuned into that one for a bit.
That was kind of interesting last week. So join us on Wednesday for that one, and they can also post their direct one if they want.
Talking about the one that I'm on.
Yes.
Yeah, we're actually off this week.
So yes, it's Halloween.
Some real life stuff came up.
And it's Halloween, so that would probably be in the midst of it.
So we're off this week. So hopefully we'll be back on next week.
Wait, what's off this week?
The Wednesday Wednesday game that she redirects.
Okay.
Yeah, I host it on my stream, and it's got a site, but I can't remember the full name of it. So hopefully, tell her to post on the screen what the website is, so they can pick it up off of my hosting if they want to go directly to it. And other than that, we will wish you good night from Crone's Crucible and all the fun and games in Waterdeep. See you next week.
Goodbye. Adios.